I just saw on the news where the NPA, or the National People's Army, which is a branch of the Communist Party, their leader, both the male and the female partner, have been captured by the National Bureau of Investigation, which here in the Philippines is the arm just like the FBI, same as the FBI. And the lady, as they brought her out in handcuffs, she held her hand up in defiance and kept it going until somebody came along and took it down, put her hand down. And I was thinking, how many people has this female warrior killed? I mean, actually pointed a weapon at and took their lives. And is it generally not true that the leader of any organization, no matter how violent they are, will not soil their hands with the blood of other men? They will not get out there with the rank and file and fight, but they will send other men to do it and to die. And that seems to be the thread through man. It's not just organizations like that. It happens to be our governments who will send men into battle, but they themselves will not get suited down in battle dress and go out and defend the cause that they espouse so willingly. And I thought about the United States and how people will get out and they will claim their human rights, but yet they will deny the God that is claimed to have been the one to give it to them. Who claimed it? Our government. The government looked up and said, we have a higher power who has given man the right for self-determination, for freedom from harassment, and all of the things that are in the condiments of human rights. And this lady has a lawyer, and the man from the NPA have lawyers, and these lawyers are now shouting false arrest. Evidence was planted. Now, if a person is fighting against any form of government, I would say the logical thing to think of, or the logical thing to believe, is that this person or group that is fighting against the government has rejected the laws and the order of that government. But yet, when it comes down to prison or not, then the NPA, the communist government, says, listen, you're violating your laws. Isn't that strange? And I will go even further and talk for a minute about my favorite subject that I am deathly against, and that is abortion. Now, not to defend anybody who partakes in that practice, because it does not matter who they are, whether they are great or small, rich or poor, known or unknown. God says in the book of Deuteronomy that the life is in the blood. Whosoever sheddeth blood sheddeth life. And this life happens to be innocent life. And this is a big no-no with God. But the whole idea of abortion was supposedly to put forth that the woman has power over her own body. Now, that would be acceptable to us. I mean, she's living in that body. She has to animate it. And eventually she has to take responsibility for those things that are done in that body. But project yourself down the road a little ways, and this woman is old and dying of an incurable disease, suffering beyond our knowing, and it's against the law for her to take her life. Now, it's true, many of the people are not prosecuted. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody does. But it is against the law to commit suicide. And if you try to, you are committed to an insane asylum. Now, what am I trying to say? Someplace along the line, that woman has lost the power over her own body. And the brave 8 in the Supreme Court, aging as they are and approaching that gate of death, have not defined when they lose that right. It's just gone. It's gone for a man too. It's against the law for me to say, hey, this is my body, I want out. I am breaking the law. But if somebody decides that they do not want an innocent one depending on them to carry them the 9 months and to see that their future is made whole even by adoption, then that's okay. Because this woman, who someday with great age may have to decide whether she's going to take her own life and break the law, is okayed and even justified by the law. Makes no sense to me. A psychologist will train for many, many years and will study the actions of groups, and then he will train his practice on the idea that you are an individual. Now, how does that happen? You see, with man's knowledge, with man's limited wisdom, with man's imagined freedom to live their life, they have brought immense hypocrisy into it. I think of the faith of Islam, and I think of the immense peace that it portrays, the immense enlightenment that it is capable of. And yet the followers say that their God commands them to go around and sneak bombs into people's houses, vehicles, and kill them because their God is not powerful enough to do his own thing. I'm going to make a brave and a bold statement now, but I want it to be recorded, and I've thought about this many, many times. If I challenged Allah, I would incur the hate of many of these peace-loving and religious people. But if I incurred the hate of Allah, it follows that I also should incur the death penalty from him. And if I were to die any other way, except by something supernaturally done, it would show what power this God has. I fear the Lord God of glory. I fear the King of the universe. I fear him in such a way that I know what he is capable of. And although I have never had his judgment pure and simple fall upon me, I feel it in the rocks, I see it in the trees, I feel it vibrating in the air. He is capable of everything, and he does not have to ask help for anything. Now you might say to me, Prophet, what about the children of Israel? They had to go in and fight for their land. God gave it to them. Most of the battles, God intervened in the battle. You cannot go through Kings, you cannot go through Chronicles, you cannot go through Samuel without reading time and time again where the king who is in power will say, God, should I go? Will you go with me? And he would say, go, because the enemy I have delivered into your hand. They were not given the land free. This eternal land claimed by God forever to be his part of the earth. And the supernatural would take over. There was a time when God told them, dig trenches for water. And the enemy looked upon the trenches and saw the sun reflecting off the water where no water should be. And it reflected as blood. And the enemy said, surely they have killed themselves and will go down and spoil the camp. They were sucked into an ambush. And things did not go in their favor. There was another time when Hezekiah, I believe it was Rabshakeh, I might be wrong there, but he came against the God of Israel and said, because I have defeated all of these other countries and have burnt their gods, have destroyed and crushed their gods, I'm going to do the same thing to Jerusalem. And Hezekiah, according to the Bible, went in and wept before God. And God says, they didn't destroy me. They destroyed the gods that they made gods themselves and were made by hand. And I am going to destroy the army of Babylon and I'm going to send them away without firing an arrow. There will be no weapon used in this city. And Rabshakeh went to bed one night with his army encamped all around him. And he woke up the next morning, and they were all dead men. Some kind of plague had come through that camp during the night and killed his soldiers. He went home, and because he defied the God of creation, the God that was on the side of Israel, he was massacred, or he was executed in his own temple of his own God. Now this is the God that I want on my side. The people who will be hypocritical in their lives and explain it away as a stand, a belief, a cause, I want them as far away from me as I can get them. God bless you. God keep you. I love you all. And believe me, I mention you all in my prayers every night. Maranatha.